Hello and welcome to the Blowing Bubbles podcast.
Mhm.
We have none other than Sylvia Campbell, and she's joining us today to talk about healing, her journey as a therapist, as a coach, and her wonderful book that she is just releasing. Sylvia, welcome.
Thank you. I'm so honored to be here with you. It feels good to be able to have a platform to feel safe and vulnerable because, for me, everything I do is ministry. It comes from the heart, it comes from experience. So thank you for that.
Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome. So, the name of your book, tell us that, The Contender, right?
Yes, the book is called
Oh,
The Contender. And the book, um, It actually came from years ago. I was at a conference in Chicago, actually, and a young lady from the UK was there, and they were talking, and a couple of other ladies, and one lady, she had brought up a prayer request. I don't recall what it was, and the young lady from the UK extended her hands out, and she said, "Let us contend for it." And it always was such a it was so impactful to hear her say contend, not fight or not, because contend for me stood out more so like, I'm going to go toe to toe with you. I'm not going to
yeah.
wrestle on the ground with you. I'm not going to give in. We're going to do this thing. And I'm not going to be the one to yield over. And I'm not saying uncle, but the contend part, that word was so strong. So when I wrote the book, it actually had a completely different title up into pretty much when I typed the last word and thought, oh my goodness, this is the word that so, and the word was contend is throughout the book, and it's actually one of the chapters. And I just thought that that was the anchor for me was the contender.
That is
So,
so powerful. Contender. And it words, there's power of life and death in our tongue. So the words that we
yes,
speak are so very important. And
definitely.
I love that. I can't wait to dig more into that.
Yes.
And how long did it take you to write your book?
So funny. This is the funny thing is this book. Um, I I started it January 2021, over 2 years ago. I had the intro done. I was so hype about it. My publisher was like, "Oh, this is fire! Can't wait." I love to write. Um, and in that process, 2 months later, my sister passed away suddenly, and I was devastated. Everything came to a halt, um, and it was I was no longer thriving. I was surviving. So to
Mhm.
say, "Oh, I'm going to keep writing this book," no go. I was doing the basics in life to get through because also a mental health therapist. So I'm helping people with their problems while I'm carrying this heavy grief.
Ooh.
And and it's like, you hear your clients say, "Oh, I miss my sister. My sister passed away, or my brother passed away," and it's like you're grieving and you're helping someone get through their grief. And
Mhm.
I did go into therapy. And so I would say through therapy and God is my anchor for everything, is foundation, prayer, so many things combined, family support, friends. I healed from that grief. Not 100%, but enough that I was able to catch my breath and say, okay, I need to move forward with this book. So
Mm.
I started back up writing, I believe like January, February of this year. So I still had an
Okay.
intro. I had maybe one and a half chapters. A friend of mine from my church, a young lady, she is in publishing. She did a 30-day challenge on her Instagram, which challenged you to write, but like 15 minutes, 30 minutes every day. I was doing writing prompts. I was doing, the time in. And then I got to the point where I was staying up all night, like going to work, coming home, dinner, chilling with the family, and then 9 o'clock at night, everybody's in bed. I'm up writing till like 4 or 5 in the morning. Got a shower and go right back into work. So I was like, so I know that was God because I was a little tired, but not exhausted, like falling over.
Mhm.
So in that 30 days, I wrote 7 chapters.
Wow.
Yeah. So I finished the book March, right around, in fact, my sister's 2-year death anniversary. And in the
Mhm.
last month, just kind of tweaking each chapter, reading it out loud and that. So that was my timeline. So, um, and just goes to show, that grief is crippling. It can cripple you, and it
No
caused
doubt.
me writer's block. Um, and you know, the book is a lot about my experiences I went through, but I was not specific
Mhm.
because I'm from such a small town. We are that
Yeah.
had I given examples and things, people would have been able to say who I was talking about.
Pull it out. Yeah. Yeah. No
And
doubt.
I didn't want that. I didn't want that. Um, this book is coming from a healed place. And so I was not gonna bleed out all over of some of the experiences I had. Was it painful to still write about it? Yes. But um I rewrote a lot of it because I said I don't want to come from that just that hurt place. So I was triggering myself. So,
Yikes.
but yeah,
Wow.
that's mhm.
Yeah, I didn't. We kind of dove right in. I didn't get into any backstory. We are from the same very very small
Yeah.
area.
Yeah.
There's neighborhoods in big cities that are bigger than our our county even.
Yes.
so,
Yes.
so yeah, I've known Sylvia almost all my life.
A
Um,
long, long time.
my cousin, you and my cousin were neighbors, I think, over there on Spearmint, in Spearmint Ravine area.
I grew up on Ravine. Mhm.
Yeah, my aunt Margaret lived over there,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
that's how I remember you. 'Cause I had,
Mhm.
side note, I had the biggest crush on your brother Wilson. Oh
Oh
my
my
God,
goodness.
Wilson was it
It
for me. Oh
me
my
it
gosh,
cracks me up because I'm like a sitcom when it comes to that. 'Cause I'm like, ew, that's my
Ew,
brother.
baby, Wilson Perez. Oh,
Funny. That's
no,
funny.
he was
Yeah.
fine.
Yes, my brother.
Oh man, yes,
Mm.
and your sister, God knows she
Oh
was
yeah.
so special to me.
Oh
We
yeah.
went through um, the Spock program together,
Oh wow, I
and
forgot all about that program.
yep, we
Wow.
were in there together. And she and I got really close at one time, and
Okay.
I just always looked up to her. Like you guys were,
Yeah.
I don't know, um, I never knew a Puerto Rican before you, and
Yeah,
it
a
was
lot
just
of
like
people didn't. Yeah.
I mean, and
Yeah.
I'm Miss Lucy. So you guys you stood out in the hood.
Oh, definitely.
Always good people. So I know this is a little detour,
Yeah,
um,
but
but
yeah,
from
but
the
it helps, I think, people listening in. Yeah.
yeah. So very very good family. But your sister was
Oh
special.
yeah. She was definitely a
Sonia,
legend.
she and I can't even remember all of the moments, but yes, she definitely poured
Hmm.
into me during
Oh
that
yeah.
time. You know, I was
Yeah.
young and I was going through things with, my
Hmm.
children's father. And
Yeah.
Sonia
Yeah.
had some wisdom. She had some nuggets for me at the time.
Hmm.
So I definitely appreciate that. And now it's a even bigger full circle for
Yes.
us.
Yes.
Um, so yeah, that is so interesting.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So yeah,
Man.
my sister, she touched so many lives. And I mean, when she passed, it was, um, I
Big
knew I
loss.
shared her with the valley. That's what we call, where we're from, the valley.
Big loss.
People were calling me like, I'm so sorry about your, and before they could get lost out, they were crying. They're like, I'm so sorry. I'm like, it's fine. We're grieving together. Like, she impacted. wherever
A
she
lot of
was an impact. Yeah, she was definitely impactful.
small body, big impact. She was
Oh,
little
and big
old
mouth.
dragon. Oh man, fiery. Oh man. And I love that,
Definitely.
when you get to a place in your healing journey where you can truly celebrate
Mhm.
a person that you've lost. And of course the mourning is what the mourning is, but
Yes.
you
Yes.
can celebrate their life and what they meant to you and to others. That
Mhm.
is a true demonstration of healing, in my
Yes.
opinion.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Thank you
And it
for
comes,
letting me
it's
share.
yeah, it comes in waves, like
Yeah.
there's days laughing about something she did, and then there's days, I'm crying because I miss her. Like this is huge for me, this book. My sister was my biggest cheerleader.
Mm.
And, she could have read it, it could have had typos, it wouldn't have made sense to, a hill of beans. And she would have been like, "This is the best book I ever read, girl." And I'd have been like, "Girl." But that was her. When I was like, okay, I had enough of myself, I had enough of the truth. I just need somebody to cheer me on. That was her. She, faults and all, warts and all. She's like, rah, rah, rah. She would cheer you on. And there was times I needed that. I had enough sense to know I need a balance and not always her, because then I would never, I'd be full of myself. So I have those people to tell me the truth.
Keep it
But
real.
Sonia was not one of them.
Oh man. Oh man. It's so
No.
beautiful. So the book, is there
Mhm.
anything in particular that anyone in particular that this book kind of targets, that would this book would help? Who is this book
Yeah,
for?
yeah, this is what, my hope is that, which hope, I'm gonna say hope a million times. That's just my thing. But this book is um it's the story of David in the Bible. Um, I give some historical content on on David's life, only because if someone reads it that doesn't have a lot of biblical background or does not want to read First, Second Samuel, First, Second King, so all of that, they can get the concept of his story.
Hmm.
Um, so in the story, it deals with David under Saul. He's serving Saul. Saul is just a narcissistic king. And I have a whole chapter on the narcissist. So
Hmm.
just in case people are like, well, I'm not sure if I ever, served under a narcissist, there's a whole chapter. And when you read it, you may get a list of people that you may be able to say, oh, I identify this and this and this. But it showed how, you know, although David had all his faults and all his, issues, he chased after God, and in that chase, and his heart was always um, yearning for God. That he humbly submitted to this ruler, and he did not do all things well. But one thing he didn't do was he did not kill Saul when he had opportunity to do so,
Hmm.
and it shows, even which you've read some of my posts. My posts on Facebook are actually each chapter.
Yeah.
So they lined up with each chapter. And so, the looking at consequences of demands. How many of us are like, I want this, I want this, I want this. We get it. And they were like, oh, wait, what happened? What is all this coming at me? Well, sometimes we want things that are not what God wants for us. So now we
Hmm.
have to suffer consequences. It's just like you leave a kid, if you ask a kid, what you want for dinner? Chocolate and cookies. Okay, go ahead. Later on, their stomachs is gonna hurt. They ate something, you know what
Yeah.
I mean? So it's like that. The people wanted a king, a king. They wanted to be like everybody else. And God said, okay, fine, you can have your king.
You
And they
can
get
have.
Saul. And it's like, well, wait a minute, this is not what we signed up for. Yes, it is. Because you didn't want to wait for David. So,
Hmm.
the consequences of the demands, talking about the narcissistic personality characteristics. Um, and with a narcissist, it's all me, me, me. What can I get from you? They drain you, they bully you, they overpower you, they, they'll run your name into the ground and you haven't even done anything. So,
And then it's
and
all
it's,
your fault.
Oh yeah, definitely. And so it's your fault you let me bully you.
Yep.
So and mainly some of that I went through in the church, being under leadership that just didn't know what to do with me. Um and me always looking at like what I do now. It got to the point I kept asking like what I do now, what I do now. And it wasn't always me. And
Mhm.
I'm the type of person that if you say, let me think of something trivial. Oh, I wanted a green plate instead of a red plate. What is wrong with you? Like, it's just a plate. Now, if you say you put my plate on the floor instead of putting it on the counter, now that's an issue.
Mhm.
But don't nitpick me to death just because you have your ways of doing things. And I always have a saying, if you want things done your way, do them yourself.
Do that. Yes. God.
So if
Whew.
you're not happy, and I'm not purposely trying to, do anything but be who I am. So, and it talks, a little bit about that, how, um, when they don't know what to do with you, or you're the best thing since sliced bread until you disagree, then all of a sudden you're just a rebellious Jezebel, throw you out with Satan person. And it's like,
Mhm.
wait a minute, I just respectfully disagreed. So, and like I said, I didn't give examples. Small town, people would have known, who I was
Yeah.
talking about. Um, so it talks about that, like having the hope to get through this healing process, because it is very damaging when you're under a leader that you respect and you love and you think has your best interest at heart, and they really don't, because they
Whew.
they want to
Oh.
benefit from who you are. They want to benefit from your anointing, but when your anointing starts to level up and other people start to notice you, and they feel like you branching out, and oh wait, you're not going to be under my wing anymore, under my finger, in fact, then they have a problem and an issue with you. And basically that's how it happened
Okay.
with David. David came in to play the lyre to calm Saul's evil demons that were tormenting him. But then now David's going to war. David's winning wars. The people are starting to chant for David, and Saul is like, "Oh, wait, 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 wait!" And so that jealousy comes up.
Yeah.
And so that's basically, the book is actually for all of the above, from Samuel, who anointed Saul and then had to tell Saul, you've been rejected, and then he had to go and anoint David and walk that process out with David. Then for David, who was minding his own business out in the field, just want to kill these lions and tigers and bears on mine, take care of my sheep. But no, now y'all want me to come up here in the palace and deal with this wretched man, just serve him, but stay humble. And hopefully the Sauls, the leaders that are like, oh wow, I didn't handle this person right, or I'm not handling these people right. How can I
Mhm.
do this, and how can I get this right? So,
Mhm.
um, all the peoples, so whatever you can learn from three different levels of what it means to contend and try to get things right,
I'm I'm
because it
I'm
even
hearing
talks
the
about
workbook.
submission.
I'm
Yeah,
hearing
oh
an
definitely.
accompanying workbook.
Oh yeah, it's definitely, because I know I had to put the work in to get to where I am, because
Mhm.
this book could have been it could have been a what's it
This is
called,
a whole course. Like,
it could have been a soap opera, because I had examples, still have examples, have plenty of examples, and I have co-signers that'll be like, oh yeah, I was there, because that I was there when it happened. but
whoa, I
but
can imagine.
that's it would that really wouldn't do any good but tickle someone's ear and give them some entertainment. I want to help people change, so
Yes, yes,
help
and
people
that's
heal.
maturity.
Hmm.
That's
Yeah,
good.
so yeah.
And you mentioned you just said something else.
Oh, submission, I know.
Submission. Yes.
There's a whole chapter on the blessing of submission, because
Mm.
David submitted to Saul even through all of that. you know Saul literally threw a javelin at him while he was playing the lyre to calm him down. And it's
Mhm.
like, it's almost like, someone come up to you, man, and punch you in your face and say, thank you for punching me in the face. I I'm going to keep playing, it's like, I'm going to keep giving you this face to punch. And, with David, he just like, okay, he probably ducked and kept on playing till, Saul calmed down. And David had opportunities to kill Saul. I believe it was two opportunities, and he didn't kill him. He could have, but he didn't.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Wow.
but yeah. So.
And I can't wait to get my hands on the book and read it. I'm definitely going to send my order in. Um,
Yes.
what do you have on the horizon? What's next?
So with that said, once and yeah, workbook is, I already know, like, okay, God, I know there has to be a workbook, with it because there's work to do with the healing process. As a therapist, I use, um, even if I have people that say, oh, I don't like to do paperwork or homework, I'll use the homework in the conversation and they get the work done. So,
Mm,
some people just
okay.
not going to write. So I'm a firm believer in writing things out and having a format and being able to follow, something that can get you through a process. Um,
Yeah.
so workbook for sure as I, work on this book release. I'll be releasing the book officially um, Sunday, May 7th. Looking to do book signing at my church here in the DC area. And but hoping this Saturday is my birthday, woo-hoo, and gonna do like a soft release. Probably like take pre-orders, start pre-orders, so that I can kind of get an idea of where people are buying the book from, what areas, and then probably do something locally in our hometown. Um, just kind of do like a book release, probably at my friend Lori shop. 2 J's in the D.
Mhm.
So probably could be up there, do schedule it out so that people want to come and talk to me about the book or what have you. I like doing stuff in person as well.
Yeah.
And then with the book, there will be it's going to be a trilogy. So there'll be
Ah.
a yeah. So there's going to be some backstory and some forward story and stuff. So there's two more books for sure. I know
Okay.
coming from it. Yeah.
So prequel and a sequel.
So
Okay.
writing, yeah, writing. Yep, the trilogy. So,
Nice.
but yeah, so writing has just opened up for me, and I love to write. I love to, just put words on paper. It's healing for me. That's why I struggled, like I said, for 2 years, not writing, not really being able to get it out because for me, I'm also a preacher and a teacher. So using my voice is a way to get it out, but also writing for me is the way I express my voice. So Hope to Heal is a coaching concept. And the reason why I'm still a therapist, will still probably be a therapist forever. I'm going to pull up some stuff here. Um, but the coaching aspect, which I shared a little bit with you before, is that therapy gets to like a deeper part of you. It gets to the healing part. It gets to the problem. It gets to the issue. It gives you some interventions in order to. It doesn't take your diagnosis away. What it does is it helps you to decrease the symptoms attached to that diagnosis and helps you to be able to identify, like, okay, I feel these symptoms coming back. I feel, my functioning is lowering. For me, with the Hope to Heal coaching, is that once you know you are healed, once you know, like, oh, I have this big plan, once now it's like, how do I execute that? And so it's giving you that push. You've been healed, you've been trained, you've been, it's go time. And coach put
Mm,
me in the game, but I don't know how to get in the game. So it's
okay.
helping people with that push to just um he, still keep healing as you're doing. And with this with Hope to Heal, it is actually um three-dimensional, and it's an acronym. Hope originally was hold on, pain ends, because that's where I
Mm,
was at. I needed to
love
hold on. I love acronyms, I love words. And so worse speller, ironically, but so it was hold on, pain ends. And then as I healed and God began to show me like this is a, you can coach this. You can coach people into their healing. Then the acronym came on whole, no, helping other people every day. So it's still hope. So every day, because every day there's opportunities to give hope. Every day there's opportunity to help someone, even if it's just you're in the grocery line and someone may be a little cranky, or just you could tell it's like, hey, good morning, smiling at someone, giving them something instead of like what maybe they've been dealing with all morning, something different. um
Yeah.
Someone you could, there's times I see people kind of fidgety and impatient in the line. I'm like, you can go ahead in front of me, and they're like, are you sure? I'm like, sure, go ahead. That
Mm-hmm.
might impact someone the rest of their lives, who knows? Or
Absolutely.
they might be like, oh well, this crazy lady want to let me go, let me go. So but just having those opportunities to give hope. And then the latest the latest dimension of hope is um have only positive expectations.
Mm.
And so you have to get to your mind strengthened to the point where when I wake up, my expectations are only on something positive. I'm not
Abs-
waking up saying, oh my God, this Monday. Oh my goodness, it's raining. And I don't mean you got to wake up having cartwheels, doing cartwheels,
yeah,
but
but that commitment
have
to a positive mindset is everything.
definitely. Oh yeah, because how many of us, and I know I was one, I'm looking for this while you do this, but I was one. Oh my goodness, Monday, Monday, Monday. So guess what happened? I started waking up in a bad mood on Mondays, or
Mm-hmm.
tired, or not feel like it for no reason. And
Mm-hmm.
so, instead of looking at it like, oh my goodness, I get it, just another Monday, look at it like, hey, when I get Monday done, I'm gonna be down, I'm closer to the weekend again. It could be something that simple, but just
Mm-hmm.
really, because the mind is so strong. And if we don't work that thinking, muscle, I call it, to turn towards the positive, is gonna just is we will relapse and be negative, and give you those negative thoughts if you don't work it.
Absolutely.
Hmm.
Definitely. And the mind, the universe. I studied the laws of attraction,
Okay.
and you put that thing out there that you know you
Hmm.
expect that, you can count on it.
Yes.
So it shall be.
Definitely.
If you told
Definitely.
Monday it sucked, Monday will always suck. Like
Definitely.
you
Definitely.
can you can literally mentally manufacture whatever you want,
Yeah.
whatever
Yeah.
existence,
Hmm.
whatever lifestyle. I mean, it's literally as simple as the conscious
Hmm.
decision to speak it and be it.
Yes.
Just walk it. You want to
Yes.
be happy is truly
Yeah.
a choice.
Yeah.
You don't have
And it's
chemicals that much
contagious.
going. It
Yeah.
is definitely contagious. I
It's
mean,
contagious.
smiling is contagious, and I am so deliberate with smiling. I meet eyes,
Hmm.
and it was somebody from back home years ago, um, out on drugs real bad. I was going into
Okay.
one of the bars, whatever at the time, and
Hmm.
this individual literally was in tears because he said, "I'm the only person that looked him in the eyes and smiled that day."
Wow. Wow.
And it made me, from this was probably still the 90s, all this time I
Wow.
have been super conscious to look people in the eyes and smile. It
Yeah.
doesn't cause anything. They're not even asking for anything. They don't even know what they need besides to stop getting
Hmm.
high. But
Yeah.
sometimes you
Yeah.
that simple gesture of humanity is all somebody
Oh
needs.
yeah. Oh yeah,
That's
definitely.
it.
Definitely. Hmm.
That's
And
it. So
it's, put
I
it,
appreciate
yeah.
the spreading hope.
Yes, and putting yourself in their shoes, like I
Absolutely.
like I said, I'm a preacher, teacher in the church. And one thing, when I stand in that pulpit to preach and to teach, my praise to God is always, God, I could be anywhere in the whole wide world. Because I've made some decisions and done some things that could have put me anywhere in the whole
Woo!
wide world.
My
But
God.
God, you set my feet here. And I don't take that for
Yes.
granted. I do not take that
Yes.
for granted that He gave me, He uses my voice to give someone hope. He uses my voice to speak healing, to speak love, to speak peace, to speak mercy. It's not my place to judge nobody. I'm like, let me
Yes.
introduce you to God. What He says He don't want in your life or it's no good, He'll tell you. I don't have to tell you that. And you probably already know. But what you don't know is God's love is unconditional.
Right.
You know,
Right.
people don't always feel that love.
They
So
don't.
yeah. So, with hope coaching, it's, you know, coaching spiritual well-being, emotional stability, and mental strength. Because I just really feel as though if spiritually you feel well, like you're connected to God, you feel connected to people, because the cross is both ways. Always say vertical and horizontal.
Yes.
Our relationship with God, our relationship with each other is, healthy. Then emotionally stable. Um, I got to tell you a story real quick about emotion.
Okay.
This is so funny. So the other day, I want to say maybe within the last week or less. I went to a plaza and have, in fact, I'm raising my sister's grandson, Dominic. When she passed, we took him in. He'll be 6. So I had Dominic with me, and we were near like a karate studio. And he was like, Auntie, I want to take Taekwondo. And I was like, okay, we can look into it. We'll check out a couple different places, see, what we're comfortable with. I said, but yeah, that's a good option for you. So then on today, I went to Hobby Lobby to return some stuff. So the line was like super long. So I was like, well, you know what? I'll just go get the stuff I need, get in line, do my return, and purchase at the same time instead of standing in the line twice. So I did that. Well, as I was approaching the line, there was a woman in line, and she started fussing, and she was like, I can't believe you let her go. She has like 5 bags of stuff. And all I have is these few things. And the lady was like, well, I'm sorry, but that's the return line. And as the woman is arguing with the floor manager, a line opens up and a couple other people went and got in that line. And so she was like, and now they're in front of me. And I wanted to say, well, lady, pay attention to your surroundings. Stop arguing with this poor woman trying to do her job. And you would have seen the line open up.
Yep.
So I'm standing there, I'm just standing there and I'm just like, Lord, help this woman. And in the meantime, I can notice the woman at the register with the bags was starting to feel uneasy. And, in this day and time, when people start to get rah rah, it's like,
Never
okay, what's
know.
about to pop off? So
Yep.
I'm watching that woman praying for her, like, God, give her peace, help her feel safe. But I'm also watching the woman with the rah rah, like, some break off. One thing I always say, I love Jesus. I'm saved, sanctified, and full with the Holy Ghost. I got a little degree, couple degrees. I got some titles and some letters after my name. But I was bred, born, and raised in the projects. So
That part.
you if I get triggered, I'm not sure which way we're gonna go. But anyway, so I'm watching her,
Love it.
I'm watching her, I'm like, okay, what's going on? So the she decides to leave the store, leave her things in the cart, like, throw the cart. And in the cart, she actually had material that was pre-cut for her order. And I thought that was really ignorant. Like you're not just leaving stuff, but you're leaving stuff that was custom cut for you. So the woman, she storms off. Then she had a young lady with her that came back, a young girl, and she's looking around, and she was like, um, oh, it's not in here, she tells the lady. So here, lo and behold, the woman lost her wallet in the store somewhere. So I'm like, Lord, help them with this woman calm down and find her wallet. Because sometimes, we're frantic and all over the place, and something could be right in front of our face, but we don't see it because we're just
In a
not
state of
settled.
mind and not, yeah.
So yeah, so I'm just praying all over Hobby Lobby. So I get out the store and before I go out, my son, who was in the car, he sent me a website for a taekwondo place, and I was like, oh wow, this is the place that Dominic and I saw just a week within the last week. I was like, so maybe I do need to check that one out. So I get to the car, and my son is like, oh, did you get the site? I was like, oh, yeah. He said, yeah, they happen to, the van was right here. So I looked it up. I said, yeah. I said, that's funny. And then I said, I was just in the store. This is when, you know how we say, I don't know why I'm saying this, but it's the Holy Ghost.
Mm-hmm.
So I start telling them about the woman in the store and how she was acting, and that she left out. And I said, I think she lost her wallet. I feel, I do feel bad for her, even though she was acting like that. He said he describes the woman to me and who she had with her, and I said, yeah, that was her. He said, that's who got in the taekwondo band. So guess where my child is not
And
going
not
for
going.
taekwondo, because taekwondo is supposed to be help you like with self control.
Mm-hmm.
And it's funny because being a parent for the second time, raising, a child, um, it's funny because my kids being around me, they probably think like this woman that lost her mind. Because I remember, I get knocked upside my head. I was like, y'all be exaggerating. So, but it, and again with the mental health piece, got to go back to that trauma. We have to stop saying that, oh, that's just the way it is, or I lived through it. Yeah, but you lived through it limping. That was, you know. So for me,
We did.
raising a child for this, coming through the second time, I'm doing things a lot more different.
Mm-hmm.
Um, using my words more, teaching him how to use his voice. It's
Mm-hmm.
not all talking back
That's
because,
important. Most of us don't get a do-over.
yeah.
It's
So,
like you
here's
get
my
to
little
use that
experiment.
wisdom, that earned wisdom
Yeah.
this
Yeah.
time around.
And even with the grandkids, my older ones, they still think it's strange because I'll say, may I have a hug? They're like, of course. Well, I'm not going to just come up to you and grab you and kiss you. I don't want nobody doing that to me. I don't care how much I
Yeah,
love you. Because
yeah.
you imagine a 2-year-old and you just go up to them, you grab them, throw them in the air, you're swinging them. How about would you want someone 5 times or 10 times your size and weight to do that to you? No,
Oh my
ma'am.
gosh, I do that to the grandbabies. Oh.
But but think about it, like
I
the
know.
Jolly
It
Green.
would
Not that we're
I
being,
would lose it. You'd be getting a two-piece no biscuit if you did it to
yeah,
me. So,
and
oh my
it
gosh.
teaches that, and it teaches, and all it is
Oh,
because I'm telling you now, my older grandkids, I'm like, can Gammy have a hug? Sure, they hug me and kiss me, sit on my lap,
oh my goodness.
Now the 4-year-old, I'm be like, can I get a hug? No, not right now. Okay. 2 hours later, she might be clinging to my leg,
Mm.
and
Wow, I never
it's
thought
just
that's
yeah,
important. Wow.
yeah, yeah. Just
Whew.
girl, if I can,
Oh my goodness. You just
even
taught me a boundary. God dog it.
yeah. But
Wow.
it sounds silly, but when you put it in a bigger picture of,
No, it doesn't.
you don't
When
want everyone to treat, you want them to be able to respectfully set a boundary, and I
yeah, we're
don't
only looking
want
at
that.
it from our perspective. Nana wants a hug. I'm just gonna
Yeah.
pick you up, and I'm big for picking them up, throwing them in the air. They
And
like it,
now
so
I
I
used
think
to do, yeah, I used to do that, because I got gaps in my grandkids. So now I'm like, okay, I can learn, I've had time to learn where, but yeah, but something that
wow.
simple. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Okay,
Yeah.
I'm
But
gonna get
just
better at
helping them, yeah, helping them to, I could, the 4-year-old has a phone that, just for her, for family. And, we FaceTime her like, hey, she might be like, boop, and hang up. I don't feel like being bothered right now. I know, don't answer because you just really hurt my feelings hanging up on me. But it's just teaching kids how to set those boundaries, or how to speak up for themselves is not being disrespectful. It's how you say it,
it. Hmm.
but use your words, be able to explain yourself, because there are two sides to every story. Actually, what they say, three sides: the truth, the lie, and the middle, whatever.
Right.
But his
Your
side,
side,
her
my
side,
side,
and the
and the
truth,
truth.
and the truth. There you go. But even when it comes to situations in school, I'm not going to get on your case just because I got a report. Let me call and find out what's going on,
Yes.
what's happening, you know, and just getting down to the bottom of the story because um, trauma is tricky. Trauma is it can be so many things. It could be paralyzing. It could set people off. It's just so many things.
Mm.
Um, and so dealing with trauma and grief is also another thing in the coaching aspect of, being able to, as a therapist, help people get to the bottom of it and heal. And then now, how can I move on? How can I use my story to help other people? How can I still function? Because people, and we know through COVID, like it got to the point I was like, I can't look on social media no more because
Yeah.
it was like people were just unexpectedly and younger people, and it was just a lot. It was a lot.
Yes. 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 Oh
Yeah.
man. So here at the Blowing Bubbles podcast, our
Yes.
mission is surviving motherhood through sisterhood while finding a balance and building a legacy. So when reaching out and talking to and ministering to other mothers, what are
Mhm.
some things that you do to cope?
For me, and again, it's just really strange, raising a kid again, raising kids. But the good thing, I think the first thing I do is realize I have a support system.
Mm,
I knew I had a support system. If you don't, get you one because you can't do it. You can do it by yourself, but what is it going to cost you? What is it going to cost your kid?
mhm.
Because my mom always taught me early on is God, yourself, then others. And I used to think like, Mom, my kids don't come after me. Well, what good are you if you don't take care of yourself first?
Mm.
It's putting on that mask first on the
Yes,
airplane, and then you can assist someone else. And
yeah.
it's getting up, before your kids, getting your shower, get your coffee, whatever. Take your minute to breathe and then start your day and start getting them up and ready. Um,
Mhm.
so it's taking care of yourself, and that means fortifying yourself also with a support system. Um, I'm huge on structure, boundaries, schedules, being prepared. Um, I have to know where everything is. I can't be, where's your shoe? What do you mean you can't find a shoe? I don't understand that. Like, it just, the more organized it is, the better you can get through your day.
Mhm.
I don't like for my day to jump me. Enough can happen in a day to jump me that I'm not going to be on that list of jumping myself.
Right.
So I would say the coping is preparation so that you don't have to cope with unexpected issues that you caused.
That's good. That's good stuff. And I really wholeheartedly live by that as well.
Mhm.
Everything's about planning and
Mhm.
organizing. If you
Mhm.
live by the seat of your pants, your life is going to reflect that.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
just having
Yeah.
systems in place is important.
Mm.
It's
Yes.
mandatory for mothers
Yes.
because if you don't
Definitely.
have anything systematized, everything's going to feel like a problem.
Mhm. Yes.
Everything is going to be challenging,
Yeah.
especially having multiple children, or
Mhm.
heaven forbid you have a child with special needs.
Oh,
Uh,
yes.
there are
Definitely. Because
so many
that's,
things, and
yeah.
then that's why so many mothers are overwhelmed. And I just, I lightheartedly um, attach myself to bubbles because it's fun. You can't. I tell
Mhm.
people all the time, you cannot be blowing bubbles and mad at the same time. You just can't.
Yeah. Yeah.
You can't do
And
it.
and yeah, and I agree. All, what's the old saying? All work and no play makes Johnny a dull boy.
Mhm.
Or it can make him mad. See, working
That
all the time. So for
exactly.
me, I have to balance. I love to do creative stuff. I love to do crafts. I love to sew little, just little things that make me happy. Even with my nephew, yes, he has the learning tools, but he also has an easel that he can learn on and he could color. He has things, he blocks he can count, but he also could use those blocks to build. So giving him that, teaching him coping skills, teaching him boundaries, teaching him about his emotions and his feelings. Um, because when he came to us, he was very much traumatized. He was
Mm.
playing, had his little friend over, they had a sleepover. He wakes up, total chaos. The ambulance is there, the police are there, all the neighbors, because small town, and he gets taken from his home, basically in his pajamas. I had to have my friend go get him. So he's like, okay, I know these people, but they don't normally come pick me up. He leaves, not knowing what's wrong with his Nana, and then he's told his Nana's not coming back. His
Oh my
Nana's gone.
gosh.
And then 2 months later, he's in Maryland with us. And literally, literally to show him a letter D and say, this is a D. What is this? I don't know.
Oh my.
In seconds, like seconds. And we just kept loving him, kept, trying to make him feel as comfortable as possible, keeping the structure, keeping my sister's memory alive with him. And then I would say probably like 6 to 8 months later, boom, his brain turned on and has not turned off.
Okay, that's
Middle,
good.
yeah, in kindergarten. And this is the impact trauma can have on someone, where we could barely get him to, remember the letter D. His name starts with a D, where
Mhm.
now he spells family members' name. He's in kindergarten doing first grade math concepts. So the trauma was just that fog. It was
Mm.
there and needed to be cultivated, but the trauma had to be dealt with, and he had to heal from
Wow. Now,
it.
is there how's the connection with his parents at all? Does he get to?
No, no, not really. Not sure, as far as not sure what's going on with the father, but with the mom, he does see her, but not consistently. And she lives like an hour and a half from us. It's just not, consistent. She's dealing with some stuff that, she's working through some stuff, put it that way.
Gotcha, gotcha,
So
gotcha.
we just try to give him as normal a life, so that he says like this is functioning. I may
Mhm.
want to be over there, but this works better for
Yeah,
my life.
yes, yes. Now, which one, his mom or dad, is your niece or nephew?
His mother is my niece.
Okay, okay.
Hmm. Yeah,
I
my
didn't know.
sister's youngest child. Hmm.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah,
Wow.
yeah. So,
Man, I have seen and interacted with, this little um burst of energy. He is so,
oh right, yeah, because
oh my
we were,
gosh. Yes,
yes,
he is
and
so,
that is him all day, every day. Like, but we channel it. You're not going to be flipping around on the couch. No, you can go outside, because I mean, he'll do a handstand and be in it for 2 minutes. I'm like, your all your blood is rushing to your brain. Um, he does a headstand and he'll push himself up into a handstand and back down, and I'm like, okay.
he
But
is so
he,
sweet. You
yeah,
guys are
lots of
doing an
energy.
amazing job.
Thank you. And I thank God, because having a husband that's a father role to him and is fully invested. That's
Hmm.
huge. I couldn't
Yes.
at my age. I'd be like, this kid may not make it, and neither am I. I wouldn't be able to be in here with you, because guess who's out there with him, making sure he's safe, playing, riding his bike outside.
That's beautiful. I love it.
So
I love it. Now,
yeah. So.
what was
Mhm.
that? What was that like? Was there even a second thought in your brain, or did you just fully embrace? Okay, empty nest just got unempty. Like,
Yeah, it was literally, I was going to Pennsylvania because Dominic's birthday is May 24th and my granddaughter is May 28th.
mm,
So that we usually would celebrate theirs like close together. She's a girl, she's 4 years, no, Melanie, yeah, Melanie's like 4 years older than him. So as they were younger, it wasn't such a big deal. Family party, she doesn't care. I'm getting gifts, my kids, my friends are here, I get a cake. You get them separate cakes. So I was planning my trip to go to Ohio, and we were having a dual birthday party for Melanie and for him. Um, he was not in his stability was getting threatened. Um, there was just a lot of different things, and um, my oldest daughter, and my son were like, "Is there any way that y'all can take him?" And I'm like, looking at the clock, looking at the time, looking at, I'm like, and you know, doing some math on my age, and I was like, how can I do this? Well, one I don't even know how the conversation started with Wes and I, but my husband, but I ended up, I was just crying, and I couldn't control the tears, and I was like, I was trying to, be more, use my brain more instead of my emotions, but I'm like, this is my great nephew, and I've always day one had a connection with him. I named his middle name like this, this is my baby. He probably was the one that I'm like, boundaries, I don't care about boundaries, this is my little chocolate nugget, and so always, you know, and being that my sister and I talked all the time and FaceTime, I talk to him every day. We
Okay.
FaceTime every day. So he's like, Auntie, Auntie, so when that happened and I was trying to regulate my emotions to be able to have the conversation, Wes was like, just go get him, just bring him back, and I was like, are you sure? Like I literally could not get words out. Um, we had in fact, the day before my sister passed, we had moved from a one bedroom um, apartment that was really congested. Parking wasn't good. It was safe, but it just wasn't conducive if we would have had to take Dominic in at that apartment. We
Mhm.
moved into one on the first floor, two bedrooms, two baths, way more open space. Um, and lo and behold, he needed a place, and we had a whole nother room that I just used for like my clothes and some stuff. So I left here, I think Thursday or Friday. I think our conversation was like Wednesday or Thursday. Left here the next day, went to Ohio, and I had an Elantra, like little car like this. And we packed that sucker up like I was just packing it in. Took as much stuff as we could, and they separated some of his stuff so that as family would come or I would go, we could bring the rest more of his stuff, and brought him here through that air mattress in that room, and there you go. And he was in there, and then by the within a month or two, his room was like completely set up and decorated the way he wanted it, and he's been here ever since. And I don't regret it, not 1 second, not
Beautiful.
1 second.
Oh
Yeah,
my.
and that's where the structure comes in, the preparation. He's so independent, even like coming home from school, little stuff remind me, like go wash your hands, go use the bathroom, go wash your hands. He'll get his tablet. He knows where his basket is with his snacks. He knows what he's allowed to have. Sits at the table, does an hour of his quiet time just to settle himself down. Then it's like, okay, what's your plan? You know, warm, go outside, whatever. There's a basket in the kitchen above the his table that has his quiet time stuff, Play-Doh, slime, all that little junk he loves that he could sit at the table and do. Everything is where it's supposed to be, so he doesn't have to question it. So, um, he's in church with me. He loves church. His church family is just awesome. Um, he plays the drum pad, so he's learning to play the drums. He helps greet with me once Sunday a month. He greets. He loves, loves, loves children's church. He thinks he runs it. Um, but the church family embrace him. Like if I walk in without him, they look down like, and I'm like, hi, I'm here, and they're like, well, where's our friend? Like his two best friends in church are Kyron and Alexis. Kyron is 26, and I think Alexis like 28, 29. Yeah, those are his two best friends. And his teacher, his teacher was like, yeah, he told me about his best friends, Kyron and Alexis. I said, they're 28 and 26. She was like, I thought they were kids. I said, because they play with him, like, and they just love on him. But yeah, he loves it. We have a great pastor, her and her husband. They just love him. Like I said, when he said, I want to play the drums, she was like, get him a drum pad, give him some sticks. He could go over there by the musicians. We won't hear a thing. He just bang away over there. He bangs on the chairs. He bangs on the steps. He bangs on the stools. He just be over there like a maniac. And they just cultivated and just let him be. But
Wow.
yeah, I don't regret any of it. It's been a really good experience.
That's
So
beautiful.
yeah, yeah.
Oh my
So
goodness. So I
yeah,
am,
for me, it's, I guess for me, it also was healing for me to have my sister's her grandson with me, knowing that Wes and I are giving him what he needs to change the trajectory of his life to where it
yes.
could be. And
Yeah.
knowing my sister would be so proud of everything we've done for him, what we're doing for him, how we love on him. And he has a great relationship with Wes. He'll walk past me and go to Wes. I'm like, okay, again, what am I, chopped liver? Great relationship with him. He's, you know, just learning things to become the man that I know my sister would be proud of.
Mm,
And his brothers, he has two brothers that live in Delaware. We make sure they see each other at least once a month. We have them together, holidays together, birthdays together. So, and FaceTime. So,
that is so good.
yeah, we keep them connected.
Aww.
Yeah, that was a good, and that, having that also helps with healing, because it wasn't all bad. It was,
Yeah.
the balance of, you know, good and the bad and the ugly. It made me, makes us who we are.
Mm,
But you got to choose which one is going to be, your strongest point.